Hello, my lovely Whipcracks. Stephen Belmont here, and welcome to the Whipcrack Episode 3 with my posse here that I met on Twitch. And you guys, say your names. Hello.
Howdy. Jacob over here.
This is Tegan. Tegan Gibby on Twitch.
I'm Joe.
I go by many names.
Hazel.
Usually just Dan or Drano.
Call me
What's
Nehru.
his character? Oh God, no. These are character names, by the way. If anybody's actually confused.
No, those are not character names. I am Drano.
Oh no, you're totally Drano. But like Hazel,
The quicker picker up.
Hazel, Migo Nehru, the DM because I'm the DM, and then Joe is friggin' Tengu. Those are character names in the last D&D thing we played. So if anybody refers to anybody as those names, just for clarification, that's all you need to know about it, basically.
Yeah, D&D. And Nehru, you keep up the frickin' bounty thing, and you're going to be getting a bounty on your head. Quicker picker upper.
10,000 penises!
Kinky.
You would want that on your head.
Oh!
In my head.
Guys!
What you're going to do is you're going to...
Anyways, did you have an intro or something like that?
I already did my intro. That's what
did
the
you have
Whipcrack
like
was
a
about.
topic or something to start on? Because it sounded like you had some sort of agenda.
D&D. Just flat out D&D.
We're suspicious of your agenda.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it like the gay agenda? Because no. So I don't know if you want me to lead off the conversation or if you want to start the conversation.
Go
if
ahead.
you have specific.
And it's going on for frickin' a half hour anyway, or a little later, so if we want to start with, I could explain what's in the making of the Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced D&D campaign, I can.
Well, I mean, I feel like we just kind of got all... with the nature of this, I don't know if your regular show is normally about D&D, that kind of thing, because I apologize, I haven't actually watched any of your normal episodes.
All sorts. The first episode we were talking about Minecraft. The second episode, I literally was just doing it by myself, talking about my 3 favorite Final Fantasy characters.
Well, how about this? Let's start out with a basic intro.
Wait, hold on. Let me guess. Snow.
Oh God.
Gao. And Yuffie.
Nope.
Could I have been more wrong if I tried?
Zidane, Vivi, and the third one was a toss-up between Tidus and Auron.
I could have been further off. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I tried
you could have been further off. You fucked up, but you didn't fuck up enough. Okay, let's start. How about this? If you don't have a specific agenda, let's start with a basic introduction to D&D. So, because it doesn't sound like you've really talked about this on your podcast before.
Not yet, but I have played mountainous amounts of D&D.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure, but depending on your viewers, I mean, it might be good to give a good idea, just a really basic description of
D&D. Isn't that devil worship?
Yeah, so basically we all get around in circles, we sacrifice goats, have blood orgies, things like that. No, Dungeons & Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game. It is a role-playing game played entirely without the use of computers.
Satan.
You totally we're gonna pretend we're gonna pretend we don't worship Satan for just a couple seconds. Basically, you play the role of an adventurer or of some sort in a fantasy world.
Worshipping Satan.
Worshipping
Well,
Satan.
I gave you 6 seconds.
You gave 6
Well, if you don't worship Satan, then you're just playing a game with virgins.
Yeah.
Which is what Wizards of the Coast originally planned on.
Ouch!
You roll dice to win. Anybody familiar with video games, though? A lot of early, specifically European and American RPGs, especially on the computer, are based on various tabletop RPGs, a lot of them based on D&D. For example, Neverwinter Nights is one of the more popular ones. Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale.
Neverwinter right here.
The original Dragon Warrior.
Yeah. Well, Dragon Warrior's a little weird. I won't say that necessarily.
No, Dragon Warrior, the original.
First Dragon
Oh, wait,
Warrior.
no, I know what the one you're talking about.
It was literally a D&D party of 4.
Okay.
No, you didn't even have party of 4. You had a party of 1. But it was very Western.
And then the next thing that
and
you
the
would
Bard's
find
Tale.
that was really based off of tabletop was Wolfenstein. I mean, when it comes to tabletop, Wolfenstein is it.
Because by the end, you're fighting, a Satan-worshipping Hitler.
There you go.
And it should be
It's
noted,
all the same.
anybody familiar with Japanese RPGs? Western RPGs, especially tabletop games. This is 13th Age here. It's a D&D variant. generally work with a lot lower numbers, a lot less, like, you'll roll a 20-sided die for a lot of things in these games.
A
There are some
D20.
games that have you roll different-sided dice and things like that. D&D is the traditional one. You roll one 20-sided die for most rolls, and then there are some other dice you have to roll occasionally. But
And we take great pride in our sacks.
Yep. So, all right. Sorry, I felt like it might be a good idea to give a brief intro for anybody who's coming here for the first time, or coming to watch your thing for the first time.
And all these squares make a circle.
And all these squares make a circle. The world
That's
is
a good
flat.
point.
All these squares
Just like
make a
the
circle.
D&D tabletops.
All these
You play
squares
on a
make
flat tabletop.
Oh my God!
And
The
all
world-
these
the world
squares-
must be flat.
Illuminati confirmed!
Oh yeah!
Yeah. But
If we had some Doritos and some Mountain Dew, we'd totally go MLG on this bitch.
360.
Smoke weed every day.
we don't have Doritos
Mission
though.
accomplished.
I think I have Mountain Dew in the fridge, but
Some
no
sunglasses
Doritos,
in here.
sorry.
I left my sunglasses
Some
in the car.
doobies.
Well,
Smoke
I mean,
the
would you
doobies.
really wear your sunglasses at night?
Yes.
Yes.
I love to
Wear my sunglasses at night,
so
I can't,
so I
can escape.
Anyone ever play D20 Modern?
know the word. Just what?
Anyone ever play D20 Modern?
No, we play real
Modern.
games.
Hold on, was it?
No, I played D20 Modern once. I mean, we all make mistakes, let's be honest.
Guys,
I'm gonna say.
I'm sorry, I'm nerdy, but not
Fifth
that
edition.
nerdy.
This is the 5th edition of D&D, and it's the modern one.
Horrible jokes aside, I have played D20 Modern, and the class system does not translate well
yeah.
to a modern setting, which is its primary sort of flaw, because you're not flexible enough as a person in a
Yeah.
society defined by flexibility.
Yeah, and the money system is what got me.
No, a great D20
I mean-
Modern game, Spycraft. Up in this bitch.
Spycraft is super good, but that's partially because of the nature of being a spy. A lot of it has to do with building. You know, you're a class of spy, but you're building a cover and you're behaving like something else, so you have that flexibility that
You
wasn't
guys
there.
are going to laugh at how my D20 Modern character died.
Autoerotic
I was gonna-
asphyxiation.
No.
Is it auto cannibalism?
Nope.
Goatsy.
I went to pull the pin of a grenade, went to throw it, rolled a nat 1, and it fell down my pants and exploded.
I don't think. Hold on.
So what you're saying is one man, one grenade.
Yep.
One question: is it smooth? Are you now a Ken doll? I'm a Barbie girl.
No.
No.
I'd start the
It's fantastic.
No.
The-
Plastic.
The irony is that the actual effective D&D modern setting is Shadowrun, but I don't play Shadowrun because while I love the setting, I find the mechanics of the system
Nothing like
just
D&D in
super
there.
fucking crunchy. Yeah, but that's what they were aiming for. They wanted D20 Modern to be Shadowrun. Like, to be an easier Shadowrun analog, and it wasn't.
Ouch.
You know what else wasn't an easier Shadowrun analog?
What?
Your mom.
Oh!
Have any legs?
And we just went there, huh? That's 100% true, by the way. It's actually 100% true.
but-
Like, this isn't even a
But
joke.
by that same token, though, my mom has cybernetics, therefore my mom is a Decker, therefore my mom is in Shadowrun. Fuck
Oh.
you!
So any of your mom jokes can go to that.
So,
Also, my mom
Lieutenant Dan.
Oh.
Lieutenant
Lieutenant
Danielle.
Dan!
Lieutenant Danielle.
Lieutenant Dan!
Lieutenant Danielle.
Lieutenant Dan!
Ice cream!
Let's shout this
Also,
three more times.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's
shout
just
this-
keep repeating
Hey.
things. Make sure
Hey.
that no matter what.
As the person at the table who actually has a disability, because I have a physical disability,
Oh, it only counts if it's physical.
I'm a winner.
Okay.
Every
You know
day
what?
is a gift, and I'm gonna get some goddamn ice cream.
It only counts if I'm
No, we actually have ice
You know
cream.
what?
I could go
I
get
would
some.
like a moment of silence for the man that's worked so hard to achieve everything that he has today, that suffers with a huge mental disability. Everyone put their heads down. Matt Damon.
Oh.
Damon.
Oh god!
Oh, you had to make the Team America joke, didn't you?
I did.
Wow.
Anyways,
But Damon.
Yes. So what you can take from this is that gamers are really mature.
Totally.
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, this is the kind of thing where any streams that involve these people are automatically going to be ridiculously offensive. Well, I don't know about Dan, but everybody else.
I was gonna say, I
Dan is not
am
as
capable
offensive.
of being not offensive.
None of the rest of us are.
No, I can.
Yeah,
also,
I've totally made
No,
done
I can-
streams that aren't that offensive.
I can be non-offensive. The problem is that Joe
You
and
aren't.
Jacob in close proximity is a bad idea.
And then, yeah, because if it's not porn, it's just gonna go really badly.
Baby arms and selfie sticks.
That's not...
Well, you keep
Oh.
talking about baby arms. At a certain point, like, I'm gonna have to wonder: are you really like using that as a size comparison because you want?
I
to
didn't
sound
say how old that baby was.
Are you saying this is like? How many times have you had like a side-by-side comparison? Be real with me here.
Well, hold on. I spend most of my afternoons at the abortion clinic. I'm pro-choice. And I think everyone should be too.
Why were you at the abortion clinic
really
trying to
concerned
find
by
out
the
which
fact
one of
that
them
this
were
is
your
a-
son?
All I'm gonna say is that when they talk about mad wizards and owl bears,
Oh.
it was not just to see if he could.
Oh my god.
You say afterbirth, I say natural lubricants.
Oh.
Right.
So this is horrible.
Let's get off this subject.
Right, getting actually
Please, for the love of the goddess, please.
for
Which
something
one?
actually-
All three!
Which ones?
For something actually
Din,
target
Nehru,
related,
and Faror.
What about
is
Din?
Anybody else
I said
excited?
Din.
Is anybody
Din's
else-
not a girl.
Din is a girl.
I've just decided she is now identifying as a he.
Okay, so you're just changing Din's... You just fucking change people's gender like that, huh?
In the end, it doesn't really matter.
Oh my god.
Well, frickin' Nehru apparently was a frickin' transgender Ganondorf in a dress.
No, that's
Wait, what?
that's the cleric. That's the cleric. You got a huge mistake
Oh,
there.
True. Oh! This is not actually Ganondorf. The character he's playing is
There's
not,
only
in
one
fact,
male every
Ganondorf.
1,000 years, okay?
100. Get it right.
100,000 years. Thank you.
On the other hand,
100,000 years or so,
Or so.
on
when,
the,
when the sun doth shine. And
And the dust does blow.
Uh,
And the moon dust glow.
on the other
the
hand,
grass
any
doth grow.
any vague appearance that the player has to Ganon is purely ethnic.
Needless to say, the beast was slain. A Whipcrack with his whip tail.
Hey, the Whipcrack is my line.
So, I'm glad we're not posting a link to your profiles online.
No, an actual thing I have that's target related is anyone else really excited for Ravenloft that WotC is supposedly working on?
No.
Maybe. Not super excited.
Hey, how did the last RoboCop movie turn out?
Hold on. Robotics first law. What was it again?
Which RoboCop movie do you mean?
It broke the first law. It killed us all inside.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Do you mean the 2014 RoboCop?
Yeah, how'd that turn out for you?
Was it 2014? I try to forget. I still have bad dreams.
Alright. How'd Jurassic World turn out for you?
I didn't see
Misa
it.
Jaja Binks!
I actively dodged it.
How
I have been dodging Jurassic Park since Jurassic Park.
Let's
2.
just say
How did Fourth Ed's Dark Sun
Jar
turn
Jar
out?
Binks ruined love for me.
Like Fourth Ed's Dark Sun.
Jar Jar Abrams, my
It's
bad.
not great, but it was a better supplement for 4th edition than anything else they had put out.
Bend over, bitch. Like it, you will.
D&D
That's
4th
like
edition
saying-
was the Jar Jar Binks of the D&D world.
Ouch.
As was Pathfinder.
No. That's
You can't have two Jar Jar Binkses.
because there are
Doppelganger.
no. there's
Pathfinder
only-
was the
no, no.
doppelganger to 4th edition,
But
which they're
doppelgangers
both
are
Jar Jar
interesting.
Binks.
Actually, I just for clarity, is Fatal the Jar Jar Binks of gaming, or is that just the Stormfront of gaming?
No, that's Ironclaw.
No.
Oh, Ironclaw's actually a good game.
Ironclaw's
though.
actually
That's the
good.
problem.
No, I'm just trying to
I
figure
know
out.
we
It's
were
like
talking about this.
how low does Fatal go on the totem pole?
What's that
I mean,
one?
it's pretty damn low.
Christmas special.
For anybody not aware,
Yes,
Fatal
it is the
is
Star
the,
Wars Christmas special of gaming.
Fatal is a game where you literally have to roll for anal circumference as part of character generation. It
It's
has
a real
rape
stat.
mechanics as a part of game.
It has mechanics for raping babies.
Well, hold on.
As a
You have to
character
know the
action.
anal circumference at its fullest and at its minimal, because if you do not, then you can't determine how much damage you're taking when you get raped. Does that make
And
sense?
this is actually 100% accurate to the game. Like, we're not even
Yeah,
exaggerating
sadly,
here.
nothing here is untrue if you have never seen Fatal.
Size, girth,
That being
curvature
said,
of your rectal lining is
That being
not
said,
calculated. Which
if
is
you're
a
gonna-
huge factor.
If you're going to talk shit about Iron Claw, there is a worse furry game.
Which one is it?
It's called Pink Civ Draconis, I think.
What?
I've
Is it-
seen enough tentacle hentai to know where this is going.
It is. No.
Hold on, are we?
No.
Is this like the Candace Navi thing?
No. This is more hilarious. Not only is it not pornographic and hard to enunciate, but while it's at it, it is badly done transhumanism in a badly done gamma world by an author who swears up and down that if you don't understand it, and this is in text in book, if you don't understand his game, you're dumb.
Wow.
This guy believes he made the greatest game ever by default, and you should just love it. And there
Have you
is
considered the possibility that you might be dumb and it might actually
No.
be the greatest game ever?
no, it's not.
I mean, we need to do a little bit more rigorous of scientific testing.
No, seriously.
Have we tested you against rigorous? Have we tested you against differential equations?
I'm sorry, but if you just said recursive, you are no longer in a position to judge whether or not I am intelligent.
I
enough
said
to
Hold
judge.
on. Can we get a dictionary check on recursive?
rigorous scientific.
I don't have a dictionary on me. I have a dick.
And recursive
Aren't you like British or something?
No, I'm American.
What's with the British accent?
He doesn't have a British accent.
Where are you hearing a British accent?
Yeah, there's no British accent in here.
I think this is just the racist in
anyone
you
a-
from when you spent time in France.
Oh my gosh, the time in France. Tell you what, very liberal country. You learn a lot of stuff and you have a lot of fun time. That's the France.
I actually believe that if I went to France, I would have a reasonably okay time.
You would have orgies upon orgies of fun.
Possibly.
It's a guarantee. It's a
just,
real thing.
You have orgies if
It's
you have
written into
friends.
the Constitution.
No, they're in the same bucket.
It's just, I think you and I talked about this before. My exposure to French culture through the classes I took, one of the things that became very apparent is that whole idea that when you go into like a store, you're not just going into some store where people slave for you. You're entering what is basically their workplace, which while they're working there is their home, so you're polite because you're a fucking guest.
Mm-hmm.
So, you walk in and you say, bonjour, madame, because
That's
you're
where
in that
you're-
fucking house! And
You got it.
if you're a shit, they will throw you the fuck out.
And that's just
Also,
for,
that is an
trying to-
amazing
that's
hat.
just for religion shit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was gonna say we should probably at some point get back on the subject of D&D and table.
I just want to know, has our
Absolutely.
host actually adopted his true and furry form, or is he
Oh my gosh! Oh my god! He's a Poe.
Heartless.
He's a Poe.
Oh,
Oh,
He self-identifies as a hat.
so he's emo. He's emo.
so we have a wolf, a grill, a hat.
No, emo.
I don't
That's,
know what
that's the
you
correct
two
animal.
are.
A Dan and a ziggurat.
I am a liar and a bad man.
Guys,
I'm a midnight smoker.
I'm gonna go grab a couple of things and we can
Isn't
transcend
that-
this from D&D to Legend of Zelda.
Isn't that what she
Okay.
said?
We cannot show you, sadly, but we actually have on the other side of the computer a much wider selection of games.
I can
So-
show.
Well, I don't want to go pull stuff off the shelf and make a huge
camera's
mess.
mobile.
They're gonna look at your ass, Teagues.
Well, when he comes back, if you want to...
Yeah. I'll be back.
Good luck.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
There's more than that. That's just what's easily accessible.
Yeah,
And I have no idea if that was a good camera angle, but
it was acceptable. It covered most of the stuff. You heard his exclamation.
yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of stacks of books.
He
I
might
can
have
pull
just
out.
been exclaiming because he
Had
caught
to,
him.
had to
He
check.
had to really take a cue. That was it.
Seriously though,
guys,
if
please
I
pick
get,
RPG
I just want
after
to say,
this,
if I
right?
go too far with the real stuff, I
Oh,
apologize. But
dude,
just
dude.
it's you and I have a thing, and we get really outrageous.
What is a Zelda? And it has Zelda.
Because I didn't grow up.
What are we
with that
seeing
whole
here?
I have no idea what we're seeing.
Shit.
Oh,
That's-
it's plastic on the outside?
Did
You're
not-
kidding me. That's the actual necklace that what's-his-face holds.
It's some sort of Master Sword-ish network.
Now, if I had my mine, I actually have the whole shield and sword in a trinket thing. You can take the sword out. It's a letter opener.
Hyrule Historia is okay. It's fun.
Wait, seriously, though.
I don't have it sitting over here.
You grew up in
France.
Louisiana?
I did no, okay, so lived in Louisiana for a good portion of my life.
Right.
Moved to Oregon, moved to France when my mom met her
Nice.
lesbian lover, and then we, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
that's how it happened.
at some point, I will tell you an old Cajun joke that I have learned somewhere.
What's the Cajun joke? Let's hear it now.
All right, it's not a particularly dirty joke. It's actually a pretty clean joke, but it's hilarious if you understand Cajuns. So,
Yep, I'm not going to get this one. Let's go for it.
so one day, Mama Crayfish and her baby are walking down the road, and they see like a cat, and the baby crayfish begins to freak out and cry, and Mama's like, slow down now. That's just a cat. Doesn't eat crayfish, which is not true.
Of course, it's not true.
Right. So then they keep going. They see a cow. Cow is huge. It's a cow. And the baby crayfish starts to freak out and cry, and it's like, no, spit down. That's a cow. And then the crayfish. And they keep going, and they see a man walking down the street. And the mama crayfish starts going, run, little baby, run! That does Cajun they eat anything!
What the fuck?
I don't get it.
Okay, guys, we can transition this talk show into Legend of Zelda if you guys want.
Absolutely,
okay.
let's do this.
Legend of Zelda. All
Put on
right.
our thinking
So,
dildos.
yeah, only
The
two
real
of us are-
challenge in the game, if you want to play on real hard mode.
That's what people wear, right? Thinking strap-ons.
Wait, I missed something, and I'm happy. I did miss something. I dodged something. Something missed me.
Best part of waking up is dildos in your car.
Their Wi-Fi STD tracking helmets
Yes. yes.
with
Anyways,
dildos on the end.
Roll for a reflex to dodge that comment. You failed. You rolled in that one.
as far as Zelda's concerned, most people here are not as crazy, or Joe at least is not as crazy Zelda fan.
He acknowledges the existence of Zelda and respects that it exists, however does not wish to pursue an active lifestyle in the world of Zelda.
Okay, in the very
Hell, on my left hand, where my skin cracks and everything, on my middle knuckle, you can clearly see a Triforce.
Yeah, and that's also Ganondorf's hand, is it not? I saw some claws on there. Oh my god, that's fabulous!
Oh God,
so
it's Ganondorf.
in the very
Are those
brief-
French tips?
No, those are real.
They are nice, clean nails, bro.
I know, a lot of women are actually jealous around town because I actually keep my nails.
You know what? You could. You know what the nails are for,
we have to
right?
maintain a minimum
You dip
level.
your fingers into
That's why
cocaine
you're here.
and
Like,
snort them
everything
one at a
being
time.
gay.
That's why you're
One
here, Jason.
pinky is
Make it
all you
straight.
need.
No, to make it
Whoa, whoa.
minimally gay.
All you need is one
Joe.
pinky.
I
No,
hate
no,
to
you
break
need
it,
all your
but I'm the
fingers
wrong
for the
person to
snorting of
make minimum
cocaine.
gay.
That's how you do it.
standard
A
queer.
funga go Ricky on.
I exist.
Italian for go fuck yourself, you queer.
I mean, you just walk around and rainbows and fucking pixie parts. That's you.
Do you have pixie farts?
Apparently, I have pixie farts. I apparently did not receive the recommended amount of pixie farts in my standard, gay initiation packet.
Oh
shit,
shit.
I mean, I guess technically, gay is not exactly
look.
quite.
When teenagers
No, you said it. There is an
When-
initiation
Do you
package.
have a Tumblr account?
At one point, I did.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Before or after your initiation?
Oh!
I don't recall.
See,
Whoa!
That's wrong.
I don't
You
read.
needed to sign up for Tumblr,
God
and then
damn
you would
it.
got all the rest of the package.
Too late,
See?
you're gay.
You
No,
would've-
no goesies backsies.
So,
So,
in the very brief,
Jesus told me to turn Jacob gay.
it didn't work.
in the very brief, on the
Because
subject of
Jesus
Legend of
isn't
Zelda,
real.
We're just supposed to be wearing our briefs?
on the subject of Legend of Zelda,
I'll take off my pajama
I-
pants.
I was not super wealthy growing up, so I had the original Legend of Zelda cartridge for NES, and I played at one time Zelda 2, that horrible game.
No.
Yeah.
But I did not have the free time or money to invest in the console war and the escalating number of Zeldas. I have since played ROMs of a couple of them. But Tegan, on the other hand, has done nothing but video games with her entire waste of a life.
Tegan, were there video games involved?
In what?
In the
your
initiation.
In your life?
In my life, yes. In the
Not a
initiation,
Okay.
Not a waste.
But what this means is that when people ask
I've had
me,
real-world applications.
Joe, how do you feel about Zelda? I'm like,
Tetris.
I liked the original.
Yeah.
How does it fit?
And as it continues, my actual level of interest and desire in upper level Zeldas, the more intricate, like we're going to wank on lore and shit's going to get real Zeldas.
My woodshop teacher actually left his NES on when playing the original Zelda because every time you save and quit, it starts you back at the freaking beginning and you have to go around. He was about 96% done with it, going off to face Ganon, and his home hit a power surge.
Oh, shit.
But you can still save without having to restart everything. Last I checked in that game, unless
No,
I'm
no, no.
crazy.
Oh!
Whoa!
Did not mean to do that.
Yeah, poppycock.
Violence.
That is inappropriate. My grandfather's member was of normal age.
We never said anything about your grandfather about his member. We just said
He
it
said
existed.
Pappy's cock.
Poppycock!
Didn't
Which
say
is
anything
nonsense.
Sorry, I can't understand with the British accent.
Oh, you're horrible.
Racist.
So,
How about you fondle my Deku nuts and take my Master Sword?
Absolutely.
no. The thing is that as you make him more aggravated, he's sliding from some kind of English, clearly to a variant of Scottish.
With the hint of Alabama.
Yeah.
I have frickin' German and Irish blood in me.
Well, that's
No.
That's not what we're
Oh,
talking
when'd you get AIDS?
No, you have to acquiesce to my grandmother, my dead great-grandmother, who asserts that one drop of Irish blood washes everything else out, so you are now Irish.
Oh, what's wrong with me, the little Irish, you wee little laddie?
Name O'Malley McPherson Mick.
O'Malley McWhipcrack.
That is now your green man.
O'Malley McWhip.
Okay, he
O'Malley
obviously
McWhipcrack.
doesn't understand good Irish names. You can also be a Dempsey, a Patrick, an O'Neill,
A leprechaun.
Call me short.
Me Lucky Charms.
They're after me, Druggy Farms.
I don't think he's saying that you're short. I think he's saying you're magical, because unicorns.
You're like the snack that smiles back.
So,
I'm not sure I feel comfortable with these implications.
Zayru, you're so ugly, not even Goldfish Cracker smiled back.
No, I'm talking about strippers, man.
I'm gonna shut up and get some coffee.
I don't think
Tegan.
you're supposed to cannibalize the strippers.
If you would like
What?
to
What?
You
talk
said
about Zelda,
Yeah,
insofar as your
it's a lap
D&D
Zelda.
Zelda. So how you've translated Zelda from
Sure.
game to D&D, so we can actually be on topic for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah, we've talked about nothing
And-
related to the
And
topic.
then I can
But
talk
this
about,
is what will get you ratings.
and then
Yeah.
we
Somehow,
talk about
it's-
how we
People
have,
want to hear the obscure and the inappropriate.
But
That's.
Tegan, then
Yeah, just take a look at PewDiePie.
once you've defined yourself,
I know.
What?
once you've defined,
I don't know who
yourself-
that is. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Is this
It's-
an internet name?
Shellberg, he has like 57 million
it's-
subscribers.
No, that's what I'd like.
Not as a Zelda.
So, okay. So, here's the thing. So, if you would like, I would be more than happy to do that. So, basically, to get back on topic, since we've talked about almost no Zelda and almost no D&D in here, more D&D than Zelda, it might be
Satan
good to
worship.
actually...
Ooh, Satan
talk about
worship.
Satan
There
worship.
was a good amount of Satan worshiping.
Satan.
I was gonna say, I totally started doing Zelda stuff and making Zelda stuff for D&D. And that's basically, we've kind of made a campaign thing out of it and just hold it up to a screen.
And of course the devil worship.
There's
I
devil
worship
in there.
Satan.
But yeah.
Nice.
And if you look in fancy looking pages, if you want to see the fancy looking pages. But basically, we're currently playing a campaign in Zelda. And you might have to hold it up to see the whole thing, but
Yeah.
it's got little fancy graphics and stuff I made. Anyways, basically, the way that this campaign has been working, this is kind of, this is in a world that is effectively similar to Zelda.
It's kind of like a train wreck.
It's mostly a train wreck, yeah.
I would like this to be more like the Zelda world, to be quite honest, because this is the Zelda world is something that I can navigate through seamlessly, and I know how to ask the right questions.
Yeah,
for
but
Zelda.
that's...
Because there's only one correct response. However, the D&D aspect of multiple outcome scenarios based on a variable that is not predetermined makes this all the more exciting. It actually adds a significant amount of chance of ruin. I mean, there was one small adventure that we went on through at Dub.
Yeah, like the Hyrulean Civil War. Why not do a campaign about that theory?
Oh my gosh, the Hyrulean Civil War, the actual thing, or what's depicted in our D&D game. The
actual thing. You could actually do a fantastic campaign on it.
What did you say?
But then afterwards, we have to talk about how even the Zora were affected by that same Civil War.
Yeah.
How they killed their leader.
Who cares about a bunch of fish?
Here's the thing. As the DM and the person who kind of built this, I've been trying to actually stay away from existing storyline. One of the problems you have when you build a D&D or other tabletop game in the middle of an existing storyline is no matter what you do, the player's actions have literally zero effect on the world. It's always going to end the same way and start the same way because you're doing it in the middle of something that somebody else made and has already finished. So, what I did was I actually ended up having to make a completely separate version of Hyrule at a completely separate point that's not really in the normal timeline because I need to have something that doesn't have a predetermined outcome so that the players don't feel like, oh yeah, we have to do this. You know, because that's boring as hell.
And one thing that I'm really happy that Tegan did is that as far as the timeline, this takes place well after all the storylines with Zelda have already been done. And I'm really
history, really ancient history, yeah.
We have history, actual history on what's happened, and we have no clue where it's going. At sometimes it kind of feels as though it's, well, let's shoot in every direction.
And when Tegan literally brought in the Zoras being armed, that brought me back to like the Hyrulean Civil War, and I'm sure it died down, but they still want to keep a defense just to make sure they're not overtaken again.
I mean, I can give a brief explanation of the setting. I can give a brief explanation of the settings. It probably would help a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, this exists in a Hyrule that's really far after. The Zora River does not go through the main place. The former Zora's domain is now a bog because there's no river running through there anymore. So all the water there is stagnant.
The original king of the Zora got killed.
There's no normal king of the Zora as much anymore. The Zora effectively have taken over the rivers and stuff in Lake Hylia, and because of basically massive climate change, Lanayru, that was the desert area, the Gerudo Desert in Ocarina, things like that, is now no longer desert because everything's been diverted as it's now more wet because you know the world itself. It's global warming in Zelda game, okay?
Yeah.
Basically, people don't live in the east side of Hyrule anymore. It's all heavily forested area that's effectively uninhabited except by magical races. The Zora militarily occupy Lake Hylia, and they're effectively the only remnants of any sort of kingdom, because the Zora actually have, a normal power structure. Most of the other population is in Lanayru, and on what is now the plains of Lanayru, not the desert, because they actually...
If you remember in one of the offshoots, what Tegan did there is, as far as the plains, it was already confirmed that the water was restored into the desert areas where they were originally, full of water.
Yeah.
But shrunk down, yada yada. The Lanayru Plains now have a full-on thing of water, and they were able to get sustenance from it, and the sands are now at the bottom of the ocean where, it comes up to the normal sea level.
Yeah.
The thing about homebrew, and especially the thing about any kind of homebrew in a known setting, is that people make two mistakes. And they're both relatively newbie mistakes, but they're the kinds of mistakes you never seem to get over. The first one is, if they're homebrewing something brand new, they think they have to recreate everything from the ground up, and it all has to be somehow super special and ultra magical. When operating on a baseline of normalcy actually is better, because your world makes more sense, and people are able to sort of grasp it more readily because it's similar to what they know. Make it different, but have some things that are just regular. The other thing is, specifically when working in someone else's setting, is the idea that we have to have guest shots, walk-ons, and interact directly with all the major stuff. You see that especially in anime-driven gaming, like in forum games based in Naruto and fucking DBZ or whatever, where it's like, oh, and I have to meet this character, and there have to be these things. I have found, because I have run a couple of games, including a World of Darkness game set in Gotham, where Batman was known to exist, but nobody actually engaged with any Bat villains or Batman himself, or any of the extended Bat family, that if you accept these things exist, but your characters are removed from them, or that the events are removed from them, you get all the same flavor and experience that everyone's looking for, but you're not bound to an existent hard canon, which is really what slows down your game, because you have to make acquiescences to all kinds of sort of shared knowledge.
And I've also, like, just in the same kind of vein, one of the other things I've done is the religions of Hyrule, the religion of Hyrule has been a little bit more clearly defined, because a lot in the games it was just kind of described as, oh yeah, it's this, and they're religious. And,
by the way, David.
Racist. Wow.
I guess Lieutenant Dan finally got Ith Queen.
Yep. But each of the main goddesses is totally worshipped still. They all have a more clearly defined, like, Din is specifically these things. Din is, like, goddess of warriors, god of more, not extravagance, but, like, I don't want to say obscenity, but, like, for example,
vulgar displays of power.
That would work. I mean, Din is closely associated with power.
Vulgar displays of power.
Vulgarity works.
We're talking, like, serious Pantera shit here.
So you mean
unlimited? So Din is Hitler is what you're saying.
What?
Dennis Hitler.
Have you not heard about the apparently Pantera is a lot of neo-Nazi stuff like that? That's all.
I mean,
allegedly. This is not from me directly.
I think you're missing the point here. Pantera, like, they had a couple of really good songs back when they were a glam metal band, and then they got really edgy and intense, and it's hilarious. I can't believe I got away with that. There are people out there in the world who are like, what? That is complete falsehood. And you all just sat there.
We just sat there and let it go. None of us are big Pantera fans, I guess, so...
You're wrong.
Apparently I'm wrong. There are also religions founded around the spirits of light, which were shown in Twilight Princess. The Deku Tree actually has effectively its own religion. And then there's also a cult of the interlopers, which is basically... It's, the interlopers are like the people from, also mentioned in Twilight Princess. And yes, I understand that the Spirits of Light, that doesn't quite make sense in existing canon, but this, again, I'm trying to deviate from existing canon to the point of actually developing a functional world.
You're fine.
She doesn't like people to know what's going on. Because she hates freedom and she wants us all to cry.
I provided a multiple-page write-up on this stuff.
You hate freedom and you want me to cry.
Shut the fuck up.
And then I cheat.
New languages, though. We're using a thing from, actually 13th Age, which is right here. We're using something, we haven't made a huge deal of it in this game, but we're using something called a one unique thing, which is basically you can have any single thing that is unique to your, that's not supposed to be for you.
I know, I'm starting trouble.
Okay. That's unique to your character as long as it's not a mechanical thing. No matter what it is, as long as it's not a mechanical thing, you can have it.
So no hook shots.
Oh, come on!
I know, right?
No hook shots, but you can know the Song of Storms because that's musical.
Ooh,
by mechanical effects, I should also define in D&D it doesn't affect your, it can't affect your numbers or give you any special abilities that would actually assist you directly in a, like you could use it in combat for special effect normally.
For instance, my character, my one unique thing is that I'm not just a Rito, I'm not just a funny bird-nosed person, I am actually foreign to both Hyrule and everybody else's territories as well.
I am actually foreign to the Rito in general, even.
Yeah, I am the super foreigner, because I am basically a bird person who is a practicing Taoist from a foreign culture that no one has ever heard.
Is,
so you're a foreign wizrobe.
Does that mean you're colder than ice?
It means that he's willing to sacrifice.
But I mean, he's super foreigner.
I'm cold as ice, I'm willing to sacrifice my love.
But he never takes advice, okay?
So Dan, your character is actually a foreign wizrobe, or...
No, I am Joe,
Oh.
and I'm a foreign monk.
Sorry.
And it's Arito, the bird
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting names mixed around because I just met
Yeah.
you guys today. So
You're fine.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Dan is the sad one because they're the Hylian raised by fish people.
Ribbit.
Well, not entirely fish people. I should say, though, there are different races here.
Like, give your character their Zora
Oh,
name,
God.
you are running with sharks.
The playable
His Zora
ones...
name is Azel.
Oh my god.
I guess he's ribbited for their pleasure.
Alright, I quit. Fine, you're
He
over.
likes to hop right into action.
God dang it.
Alright.
This is the correct thing for races. We have Gerudo, we have Gorons, we have Hylians, we have Rito, we have Zora. And I'll probably release all of this at some point as soon as I feel like it's worth
Yeah.
it. We have the Yeti from
Right now,
the
it's still an
Anuki,
escrow.
which I'm just using it as the name for the Yeti people, even though that's technically not true.
Yeah.
Technically the Inoki or Anuki, I'm not sure how it's specifically pronounced in this case. I assume Inoki.
Happy, snippy,
God
fun party.
Are they're just Yetis, basically. Fairies do have mechanical effects, even though they're weird.
Jetties.
Forest scrubs with the variant of Deku Scrub and Korok.
Okay.
Kiri are also playable, as are Skull Kids as a variant.
Yeah.
Poe, technically playable, the source of a fuck ton of disagreement. So those may not be playable.
Yeah,
But-
but even though the Poe would have an undead subtype because they're ethereal, what would be the best ability to actually combat
It would
them?
be etherealness. Ethereal is way too overpowered.
Well, still, Spectral, a Spectre, something like that, to where most weapons you would need Ghost Touch or something.
The current
No,
write-up,
that's way too powerful. You can't really do that in this.
the current write-up has us porting Revenant in a
It's a weird port of Revenant.
yeah.
Twilight are also playable, by the way.
Ah.
And basically the Twilight are still separated in this world, I should say, because it's a big, important thing of our campaign. The players actually discovered a portal to the Twilight Realm. So,
Yeah, even though it slices people's little tip of their pinky off.
No, that was a different portal. They found a big portal, and then they found a
Oh, okay,
back in
okay,
space.
okay. I thought that
But,
frickin'
my character was the first one to spill blood in the Twilight Realm, and the first one to literally fall off a ledge into the Twilight Realm. My character goes there a lot. It's his thing.
I honestly
you
thought
end up-
that slicing portal was into the Twilight. Sorry.
They like me there.
Yeah, I mean, the portal there was basically, it wasn't actually a normal portal. It was more like a crack in reality. So, and honestly, tonight's game was kind of compared to normal, I feel like. I don't know. We didn't get a lot of stuff done. So,
We've had a problem with player population. When there are less people to play with, there is more time to fuck around.
yeah, and so we ended up doing stuff.
So initially, Tenju was a bird in the Twilight Realm, or
No.
Oh,
Tengu's actually from...
because he actually said that the Twilight actually like him there. That
Oh,
That's
that actually
another
ties
story.
into a prior story. The reason that the Twilight like him is because he had in a prior little
He
event
had
there.
an inappropriate relation
did
with...
he have an affair with Midna?
No, he didn't. He had an affair with a huge displacer beast.
To be
Hey,
fair, he
Pinky.
didn't actually have an affair with it, but
Hey.
we're going to totally make fun of it.
I have the eye of the tiger.
Oh.
Hey, let's just put it this way: Telma Bear is actually frickin' hot in Twilight Princess.
There's no doubt, but the other Twilight are normally like 4 foot tall.
Telma Bear was the barmaid in Hyrule Castle.
No doubt, the normal Twilight are like 4 foot tall.
Yeah.
Basically,
No, I think you're confusing. The Twilight are actually taller.
Twilight are 4 foot tall in Twilight Princess.
That's because they're all mutated and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
And that's what I'm
see
going
an
off of, 'cause
actual
it's-
one until you see Midna, who is significantly taller than the Hylians.
there was a fight. My character was doing a good deed, and basically got rescued by an NPC, who took me through the portal and delivered me to the Twilight, where I was a honored guest.
Delivered you from evil.
Because he basically saved the pet of the royal family.
Yeah, by the way, we've been going for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much footage you're going to actually cut out, because there's a lot of stuff here you can totally cut. So,
And can you actually please cut the part where I dropped Trow? Because
Trow?
when you were getting up for a minute,
yeah, Dan totally started flashing people with penises.
Jacob and I had an argument, and I had to prove a point, but I wasn't thinking about the fact that we're still being recorded.
Wait a minute. I gotta ask.
Don't drop that.
But Dan, I have to know,
my
why
God.
is it when you drop trowel, there's a trowel?
Mm.
Why do you drop trowel? That makes no sense to me.
I got an idea. I probably won't cut it out of the video. I'll just paste like a freaking clown face over it.
No, no, you
a
understand.
heresy logo. A heresy logo. There we go.
I don't think this is...
Illuminati eye logo.
There we
I'm
go.
not sure how much Dan is fucking
Well,
with...
I think there'll be one eye that he can't see out of.
I was going to say, I'm not sure how much Dan is fucking with you or not, because I wasn't in the room at the time. So, I'm just going to assume Dan is 100% accurate.
You could also just plaster a frame computer over it.
Oh, God. That's another story. That is very much another story. That is a story of a different game and of a different time.
Different time.
And I'm keeping this in its original packaging. I am not getting rid of it.
Not too bad of an idea.
and I assure you, the packaging is all original.
Oh yeah.
That was what the argument was about.
Oh. Oh my God.
Is this going to be turning into frickin' Markiplier with all the dick jokes?
You have a good keen ear for things. Yes, it is. It is.
Sensitive hearing.
This person, it sounds like they're stealing our act.
Yeah, who is it?
Who's who? Markiplier?
Yeah.
Mark Fishbach.
What's
He has like, he has like-
This is Wilfred Warstash, don't you know?
what's a Markiplier?
Warstash. The guy with the dirty Sanchez, right?
Yeah, the guy with the pink 3D sensor.
Gotcha.
He's stealing our act.
The Red Wings of Love, man.
We gotta go kill that fucker for taking our act.
Anyway.
Hey, no, he actually got me started into doing YouTube. Thank you very much.
Don't worry, my guy gets out of prison in 3 months. He'll be safe.
I love Markiplier. I'm just being silly.
I don't know who it is.
I was gonna say, I think we're. I think at this point, I mean, if you have what you need, I don't. If you're
But
pretty
do
much
you
all set,
have what you want?
that's the real question.
Well, any way you want it, that's the way you get it.
Yeah.
So you need it.
Anyway, you
Say
want
it
it.
right.
Well, I guess we could probably go on for like another 12 to 13 minutes, then I'll cut the video if that's fine.
I mean, it's one of those things where we're at a point where like we've kind of talked about a lot of the stuff that we would normally talk about, and you can cut a good half hour total, or cut this down to a half hour pretty easily. So, we could also just totally conclude this, and you can cut it down to a half hour. I'm sure you can cut out what you need to.
Well,
What you need.
I was gonna say for the end of this video and everything, I could actually talk about what I have in the making for my Final Fantasy D&D campaign.
Let's hear it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Because it's
You're ready to have your ideas torn apart. I'm just here right now.
We are not kind people.
We are not kind to people. We will be critical.
Go ahead.
I mean, critical's a different guy, but we'll pretend we're critical. We'll do some shitty speed runs.
Oh, snap.
okay, so the initial storyline is going to be in like a water world, sort of like Wind Waker, and the whole place is flooded, and the whole campaign is mainly about defeating these 4 bosses that are controlling the whole flooded area.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop you right there.
You're gonna have Ritos in there. You can't
No.
have that.
I was going to say, first of all, if you're having players going into this, unless you're writing a scripted campaign, and it's supposed to be a scripted campaign, if you're trying to build something a little bit more general, players should know from the start they're going into a heavily scripted and probably railroaded thing.
I just want to
At
be
that
Dennis
point.
Hopper. That's all I'm gonna know.
Yeah, I mean, you should make sure people know this, because a lot of players going into a D&D type game
Yeah.
are going to expect a certain level of choice, and being told, oh, by the way, your mission is to go and do this is...
But
I mean,
But you can go and face the bosses at any time. There's not a script timeline of when you have to kill them.
I mean, this sounds like a video game still. This doesn't sound like a tabletop game.
Well, see now,
And yes, we're being intensely critical here, but
Well, you're being.
I'm being
critical.
intensely critical. Sorry.
I'm just saying someone should be.
I'm a Bolshevik.
I think we're all
Someone needs to be
Bolsheviks.
Kevin Costner.
And I practice the great art of bullshido. No, but let's actually
Cat just used the damn litter box. Holy shit. Huh.
Unholy shit.
That'd be a kitty shit. And so, I mean, as far as what you're looking to do with having a pre-approved story and already placing the characters in there, it is going to be really important that when it comes down to it, the story's already been said. It's just a matter of finding actors for your play.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the real truth is, it sounds like you want to play. You don't necessarily want a game with various outcomes. There's one of two outcomes. They can die or they can succeed. There's no other option to branch out.
And there is an alternative to going against the whole boss idea and everything. There is an actual treasure hunt aspect to it in trying to go on quests to find relics. Other than that, it's
there's
more free roam.
Right.
I
No,
think
the
that-
difference is a pipe versus a tree. You're giving an option for a pipe system, whereas a proper tabletop is a tree. It can grow in any aspect.
I mean, keep in mind, proper here is at some point a matter of opinion here, but we're specifically talking about when you do a tabletop game, contrary to a normal, let's just say, a normal RPG where you have multiple choices, things like that, even like saying you can go and fight the bosses in any order, I mean, it still sounds like a video game type thing that would do much better or something like that. Because even if you have multiple outcomes, the thing is that you're looking for play, and this is the same kind of thing I was actually getting at with the pre-existing storyline thing. Even though the middle part might be a little bit different, you still have a very clearly defined start and end point.
Yeah.
The heuristic here is that no campaign survives its first encounter with players. Because players will gleefully, willfully screw over your wonderfully built campaign to go on absolutely insane side quests. In the Zelda game here, we more or less took over a town through politicking, which was not a plot point, was not part of the standard game, was not the plan, but we wanted it because we wanted a connection to something that would give us a solid base and infrastructure to work with.
I wanted to be a total dick.
I was gonna say, how about this? If this would help out, let's just if this would actually help you out, this would probably actually help you out quite a bit. And if you guys want to veto this, go ahead. Let's just go ahead and say, if you can give us the basic setup for your...
Veto.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Give us the basic setup for your campaign.
Did you not get a veto option there too?
I
No.
would like to veto.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I was just given a veto option and then told to shut up when I used it.
Correct. This is a democracy.
I would like to nunzio, so that I not
Democracy.
veto, because everyone else is vetoing, and I want to be
I'd like to
nunzio.
Fonzio.
Fonzio?
Sit on.
I was just gonna say though, if you want to try this out, what I would do, just to see what this happens, just to kind of get an idea of what Joe is saying, let's say you give us the setup for your campaign, and do this like briefly. Just pretend we're actually playing it, but don't actually give us the full this is how you describe it to your players, and we can describe as people who've played games a bit, the way that we would proceed from there.
I drink my urine.
That would not be the way to proceed from there.
So, and I was wanting to veto him, and I'd like to actually bring up a movie based out here, where near we live. A group of guys from the nearby college made this movie about 15, 20 years ago. It was called Video Games. Or no, my apologies, it was called Gamers, and I actually have the cassette played. The cassette. Now, essentially it was live-action role-play mixed in with tabletop.
Oh, the Gamers, yep.
We own that film. It's on our Raspberry
Yeah, it's
Pi.
awesome.
Oh my gosh, I actually knew the actors.
That's an awesome game.
They're from Evergreen.
Awesome.
Yeah, no,
college.
it was clearly
Whoa.
Evergreen that they were filming on.
Whoa, they're from Evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they got a gold star for that paper. They passed the class.
Only after they reviewed their professor. Now, there were players in there that constantly tried to derail it. But it was this preset dungeon type. The type that you're trying to make, from what it sounds like at least. There's only one direction it could have gone in. However, once the Dungeon Master let it escape a little bit more, it turned into an actual adventure that kind of took on a life of its own. And for some of us, I feel as though that is really the main goal for tabletop games. Now, of course, you could argue and say, well, no, I wanted to go this way where they have to go and figure out, use like puzzle-solving skills to get to the ends of it and call it good for that chapter of a bigger scheme. At the same time, open-ended period works well. There was a time that I opened up a door that I did not inspect properly for one reason or another, and everything inside blew up, including some very precious relics.
You done fucked up.
Yeah,
There's
I
actually a
fucked
bunch
up.
of really important
There
stuff.
was one very specific reason that
Yeah.
because you done fucked up.
Yeah, I done fucked up. Now, if you're planning on making your game in a specific sense, possibilities like that can't happen. There can't be any room for the players to make errors and learn from their mistakes to better improve themselves later on in the gameplay.
Because
Oh,
what
there
happens
is
if
room
party-
for error.
Well, no, but let's just say you said you have 4 bosses. Let me just present a scenario here. So
You mean
Karen-
I'll speak to you?
Yes, I mean
It hath been decreed, you may speak.
Okay, so the characters all go in to fight this boss, and they kind of go and start looking at it, and they decide, you know what?
Deuces.
We don't want to, or let's just say they decide, you know what? Fuck this. This is too intimidating. We want to run away. Or, let's say they say, and I mean, at that point, are you going to lock them in the room or have them escape? Or, another example, same situation, they meet this insert thing here that's this monstrosity or this person that's horrible or, you know, insert thing here, and they decide that rather than fighting it, they want to take a social approach to the combat and not actually run a combat at all, but rather run a social encounter with this thing where they actually try to get its good graces or, you know, something similar.
As Captain Judgmental,
Yeah.
I get paid to be judgmental to people. I just want to say that it seems very much like we're approaching this from a prescriptive method, where we're talking to our host who has some D&D experience and kind of knows what he's doing, and it's like, and you're doing it wrong, this is how you fix it. I think that a trick that has been lost to the ages in more recent iterations of Dungeons & Dragons and the Dungeons & Dragons community, or the gaming community at large, is in the pursuit of transparency, we have forgotten that you can actually still have what we would otherwise call a railroad, a unipolar system of plotting, if it is behind the dashboard. It's not like they talk about in books where you take a turn off the road and boom, there's a rock fall, boom, there's a tree in the way, boom, there's an impassable cliff. It's specifically that no matter what direction they choose to take, if you give them a fork in the road, there's nothing stopping the GM from saying, and that was the fork you were supposed to take. What I would ask, which I think is far more pertinent, because you actually haven't had a chance to tell us more
Sorry,
about the game,
we've been interrupting you and just telling you you're a horrible person.
do you have a setup for players to actually be connected to the world, or are they just going to be random characters who arise to deal with a problem? Because I have found, and sometimes it's handled badly by my own hand, sometimes it's handled very well, that the number one way to get players invested is make their characters be part of the world in some fashion.
It is going to be part of the world.
Well, like, for instance, they know people, and those people are negatively affected by these boss monsters, and so they have an inducement to go do something about it, because it's not just, oh, well, they're funny and fame. It's like, my family!
They are going to be a part of the world. It's not just going to throw in random people. It's like, do this, do that.
You're totally solid.
And I'm going to be talking here about the profession system and the combat situation. Like, with the freaking final...
No, that I actually am really interested in hearing about.
The final...
I'm sorry for completely derailing this.
The Final Fantasy portion of it, you have the 3 elements, fire, ice, and lightning. And you'll have a choice of range, mage, or melee. And regardless of what you choose for combat-wise, you still have an elemental choice. of what you want to become. So you could very well be a lightning frickin' melee and beat the living crap out of people with a lightning blade.
So the idea of this is kind of a it's a rock paper scissors system, but a little bit more modified as far as like you have the elements, things like that. It's just the kind of rock paper scissors system you'd expect in a lot of games.
And there's no level cap, but there is a judge in the combat system, and they have laws on what can or cannot be used during the fight that day.
This is pulled from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, if you yeah.
Okay.
So.
And they even have a judge point system, and everybody has a list of special abilities or totemas that they can choose. Honestly, my character, which is over level 400 in Fire Melee, which is where the over 4,000 HP came from, because it factors in with the armor and everything that he looks like a Flame Elemental Iron Knuckle.
I believe you are not being elite enough. You should clearly be over 9,000.
Throwing my own joke back at me? Because I wrote that in the chat.
Oh, we saw it.
I'm just going to throw this one out there, going back a step to writing a story. And this is for you and all your viewers. I am a lazy fucking DM. Lazy as hell. I have my players write the damn story, and they will follow that plot train wherever they said it was going.
Yeah.
I make them write it.
Kind of like what Treyarch did with the Nazi zombies and everything, that storyline.
Yes.
They didn't make one, but they just went along with it.
Like, oh, well, alright, we're gonna do this.
I guess that's how the story was. Thank you for telling me, players.
Yep. We will follow a plot train that we write ourselves. Because
World of Warcraft.
Beautiful. Nobody
Level
wants
100 Fire Mage.
100 Assassin Rogue.
Hey, that plot train's a coming.
level 80 Paladin.
Oh god.
He quit when the gooding
Don't
when the
lie,
getting got
you're
good.
a level 10 dick wizard and you know it.
We're talking about World of Warcraft.
He's a twink.
Dick
It's
wizard.
beginning to look a lot like this raid isn't going to happen. Murphy's Law
No.
today.
See, the trick is with the rogue,
Oh
you
my
run
God.
in through everything, aggro everything.
Leroy! And that was a paladin, by the way, not a rogue.
Close enough. He played a rogue at heart.
Close enough to you're an honorary rogue.
He
Leroy.
was born a paladin. But he
Hey guys,
a rogue.
going back to the Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced D&D campaign with professions and everything, you have professions like blacksmithing, fletching, all that you can do. But in order for you to gain any XP in your profession, you literally have to roll for it.
Did you just say felching?
Fletching.
Fletching.
You said felching.
Out of the gutter. Out of the gutter.
We're talking about video.
No,
or about
here's the
video,
question.
I mean,
What if
tabletop
I want
games.
my profession to be customer service expert?
Oh my god, I'm gonna stab you.
What if I want to be a customer service expert? What if
I
I
was gonna
want
say in a fantasy setting that's a little weird.
Hold on. What if I
category.
want to be
Oh.
a customer service rep
I
on
thought
the
you
other
meant
end of a
prostitute,
crystal
but
ball?
We're gonna go with that.
You take a penalty for being a dumbass.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I see how it is.
As a customer service rep on the end of a crystal ball, I'm used to
No.
that.
Now you said something that
Wait,
was a little
if I
bit.
take the prostitute profession, can my character gain the magical vagina, or do I have to search
And
for it?
as a
No, you'll just get magical STDs because you're an ass.
no.
Great, because
Hold
then I
on,
can
hold
use
on.
them offensively.
As a prostitute with STDs, can we use the STDs to put the infection on arrows to shoot at our enemies?
No,
Oh
Yes,
my
but it'll be considered a ranged touch
Special
attack.
attacks.
Hold on.
Your special attacks, your
What?
STDs.
I said yes, but it would be considered a ranged touch attack.
A ranged touch attack? Okay, fine. Do they get defenses against this ranged touch if they are wearing plastic?
Nope.
Oh,
What about
whoa.
Because
Arrows have points.
Sheepskin is not protection.
arrows pierce through plastic.
Not unless they're metal
I'm
arrows.
just going to throw out there prostitute.
What other
profession
arrows are you
club.
gonna use?
wooden.
stone?
That's a good point, but that would still pierce through plastic.
No, but wooden arrows will not pierce through plastic if the plastic's thick enough. Remember, these are Catholic times. Where, as far as the armor,
Whoa. Didn't you hear what the Pope just said, like yesterday?
no.
Contraception isn't inherently evil.
But that's what it says in the Bible. It also says in Timothy.
No.
It says in Timothy
Pope
that women
just said
cannot
so.
teach boys or men, or boys
If we're
going
going to
men.
talk about Catholicism,
But
the
let's
Pope
stop
is
talking
God
about
on earth.
Hold on.
And
They
has the
can't
right
teach
to
boys
speak
or
directly
men
to
or
God.
boys to men.
Say whatever
But
you want.
Can we
women...
please not
So-
talk
so-
religion
Hold on,
in here?
and another thing, if I get touched by one of the arrows from the peripathetition,
Why are you
which
pointing
is
on me?
I'm pointing over there.
Okay, I'm serious.
if you get touched by one of the arrows from the peripatetician, which by the way is the professional way of saying a prostitute, a person that works with the people, in other words, if she's on her period in the game, do I have to turn over 3 turtles in order to cleanse myself from the sin of her being on
Oh
her
my
period?
god, let's just fucking...
And if so,
Can
How long-
we X-nay on the religion?
Please show us on the doll where the arrow touched you.
Anyway, you were talking about profession. You said something about having to roll for XP.
Yes. And also, I'm going to be having books of, like, masterful blacksmithing, but you have to be a certain level in order to understand it, otherwise you're going to be getting a penalty.
So I'm not understand. I don't think
can
I'm
the
quite
penalty
understanding the system.
be being spanked?
No.
Oh god, stop with the friggin' BDSM shit.
That is not BDSM.
It depends on how the
It's
spanking.
being kinky.
Um,
That's what it is.
Depends on how the spanking goes.
There you go. Well, I don't know if it's kink or if it's a fetish because I'm only using part of the person, not the whole thing.
It depends on how the spanking goes, and we're gonna leave it. I don't know if we're gonna leave it. That we probably won't leave it at that actually. But
I don't know, take a
I'm not
bend over.
sure. Oh god. Nope. I'm not sure how
You know,
the.
it doesn't count if she says, oh god, like that. She has to be saying it in a positive way. You know that.
No,
That
if she
distinction, right?
says no, then they weren't playing the game of rape, which is another tabletop game.
Oh my god, I don't want to know about this one.
Oh, can
So,
we please
but
not
it's
talk
for
about
the
that?
XP, and stuff like that? Because you said you have to roll for XP, and I assume you mean you're going to be basically using skill checks with professions as if they were like ranked skills. Because you said it's based on Pathfinder or 3.5. So
Yeah.
I assume at this point
It's mainly 3.5.
it's like skill points or something like that.
Yeah.
But instead of normal skills, you have professions instead. That's what I.
And you have to use your profession to gain levels in that specific profession. You just cannot use skill points to, like, bump up your professions.
One second here. I just thought of something. I don't know if I can do this. Oh, there we go.
Oh, boy.
Now I can make you full screen. Sorry, I completely didn't have you full screen this whole time.
Yeah.
This
I
is...
don't have you full screen either, but I have a TV as my monitor.
So it's fine.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Anyways,
Plasma,
Okay.
CRT, or LED.
I think
Or else-
LED. It's a Sansuni. It's an HDMI.
projector. You forgot about
That's-
projector.
Oh, projector, that's CRT.
that's
right.
DLP. No, DLP is different. DLP is just projection TV. That's completely separate.
DLP?
Yeah, DLP. It's a
But
TV. There aren't very many of them around. It's a digital light projection TV.
So it's just as bad as LED. LCD.
No, it's actually fairly nice TVs. They're just not as nice as LCD.
Hold on, you're thinking. I'm sorry. I know exactly what you're talking about. They're the TV boxes.
Projector coming from behind you to the screen, not from behind the screen.
Oh,
Well, the
I was gonna
projector
say,
that's LED.
that's a projector.
That's LCD.
But
We're
that's
talking
different.
about they're huge boxes. Light bulbs project onto the screen.
DLP actually are about this thick. They're different. They're completely different.
And at some point, we might actually talk about.
Anyways,
Dungeons
getting
and
back to
Dragons.
this. So you were explaining the skill system. I mean, the profession system there, and how that was working. And I don't know if you were explaining. You sounded like you were going to. You had something else to say there in relation, or on that same kind of subject. But I wasn't sure what that was.
Going back to Latin and everything, if someone is a ranger, I am adding a prerequisite system. Like, one item will give you the ability to block arrows, so you will not take any damage from incoming arrows. So, and one is Fletcher's duplicate. A ranger has to be over level 600, of course. But initially, what you're going to be doing is grabbing an arrow out of the air, take a look at it quick make a duplicate, and fire both back.
So, what this sounds like is you're basically adding magical effects onto items that all have like a specific magical effect. Honestly, it sounds actually a lot like the at least what we were using in 13th Age for our magical items thing. Where basically, like, for example, I had a sword that gave me an ability... Well, originally Joe's character sword, but then his character died.
And became holy shit.
Yeah. Oh my god, not that. That was totally an actual thing. Literally, holy shit. We're not going to talk about that at this point. But basically,
was your
he had a
character
sword...
eaten by a priest?
No.
He had a sword that let me once per battle. It was a magical weapon, so it had different stats, but once per battle, I could totally use it to make, or as a free action, and it would recharge if you rolled a specific amount. Make an extra melee attack against anyone within the general range, and basically it projected a duplicate of myself as a shadow in order to hit another person.
Hell, I'm also adding a homebrew quiver into a game for any range class. That basically is, if you guys have ever played RuneScape with a freaking quiver that automatically makes arrows,
Nope.
you roll 3d10s every single day, and it will determine anywhere from 3 to 30 how many arrows your quiver makes that day.
I was gonna say, you'll probably want to make that expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Assuming you can buy this stuff. I mean, a lot of games you can't actually buy.
It's going to be sold in the shop for about 150,000 gil.
That's the average hourly wage in a Mexican farm.
You're a dick.
Anyways, my God, you're a horrible person.
I work 37 and a half hours.
Oh God. Anyways, so.
And I'm even adding Bonga, which is the lizard people. Moogles, I'm adding Numu, which are in tune with like white mages, black mages.
Numu, that sounded like someone who controls minds.
No, it's not a mind flayer.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so you have a bunch of basically custom races from the thing that you're looking at.
So I got a question about the level scaling here that you're talking about. You mentioned level 600, and I think you also mentioned level 400.
Where does it top out at?
There's
No level cap.
How does...
What if I'm over level 9,000?
Oh my God, Jacob, I'm gonna fucking stab you.
Ignoring him for just a second, how do you work that to make it advantageous? Like, this is something that I've run into a lot when I've tried to do larger level spreads.
I mean, even more than 10 levels. Even like a 20 level system.
But something that I run into when I try to do larger level spreads, like, I've tried 100 level spreads. What do you use to kind of step between the levels without making it feel like the character changes every single time you play? And how fast do these levels progress? And is the point that, like, one character can end up at level 590 while the rest of the party's at 572 because they did really well? And what does that mean? What's the difference between level 400 and 401?
That kind of thing, yeah. That's actually
a little bit of HP boost and some MP equivalent. So initially, once you level up, you roll anywhere from 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, depending on if you're a melee or a mage, and the same with MP as well.
Are you gaining any sort of any other abilities or anything else besides HP and MP as you level up?
You'll be getting AP as well, for it determines what item you have equipped and what your ability points are at. For that.
Well, I mean, besides just raw numbers, is there anything else that you're getting? Because one of the things is, I mean, and this is not something like.
Sorry about that. Well, my lovely Whipcracks, I'm going to be ending it right here. I hope you guys all enjoyed.